Welcome everyone. We're continuing our share in Dirshu Bahalacha. We are picking up on Reich Yud Zayin Amid Beis. We are in Siman Shin Samach Beis, and we're going to pick up from Sif Katan Zayin. So, we began in Sif Katan Hey and in Sif Katan Vav, speaking about making a mechitzah using people. So, you could actually form a mechitzah on Shabbos by having people line up so that they are standing close to each other and there isn't a space of more than 3 tfachim separating one person from the other. And they're going to line up, stand up, and they're going to form a mechitzah. They're going to form a wall by standing next to each other. They could actually do this on all 4 sides. You could have people line up and make a square, and they're enclosing an area that's larger than Daled al Daled. That enclosed area in the middle is going to have a din of Rishus HaYachid, and you're going to be allowed to be metaltal inside that enclosed area. Now, we did say yesterday in Sif Hey that the people that are standing over there to make the mechitzah, they cannot be aware that they're standing there to make a mechitzah. And the Mishnah Berurah explained that if they know that the reason they're standing there is to make a mechitzah, if you look at Ice Cotton Lamed Tes, the Chavetz Chaim said, after mechitzah kazu ain't ba mishum binyan b'Shabbos, even though there is no isser of baina by standing over there to make a mechitzah, mikam makam aser kishayedu, still this is forbidden if they know why they're standing there. Why? Kedei shelo yavayu lozalzel be'isser Shabbos. Because if these people know that they are standing there on Shabbos in order to make halachically recognized mechitzah, that could come to a zilzol in Shabbos. That could come to a weakening in the respect and how they treat Isurei Shabbos, because, what do you mean? I'm standing over here to make a mechitzah, and it's a halachically recognized mechitzah. So that means by my action of standing there, it's as if I'm building a wall. So you see, I could build a wall on Shabbos. So that could come to a zilzol Shabbos. Therefore, these people cannot be aware that they're standing over there to make a mechitzah. If they happen to stand in such a way that they're forming mechitzahs, you could take advantage of it and you could be metaltal it, but they can't know. And indeed, in Sif Katan Vav, the Mechaber even said, even if when they stand there, they were not aware that they were making a mechitzah, and now afterwards they find out that, oh, you're using us as a mechitzah, even that's okay. As long as b'shas ma'isa, when they did it, they were not aware. Now says the Mechaber in Sif Katan Zayin, Yesh mi she'omer, there are those that say, Shalo yamid oisam adam shehu roitza lehishtamesh b'mechitzah zu, that the person who wants to take advantage of this mechitzah that's going to be made by people, he should not be the one that's going to have those people stand up in a line to go make the mechitzah. Ela rather, yamid oisam acher shaloi l'daitoi. Instead, somebody else could go ahead. Somebody else could ask people, would you gentlemen mind standing over there in a row? And then after he has them stand there, he could let the person who has the need for the mechitzah know, by the way, this is an enclosed area right now because we have a row of people standing over here making a mechitzah, and we have other mechitzahs over here, so you should know you could go carry now. So now the people who went and stood there were not aware that they were making a mechitzah, and the person who needs the mechitzah was also not aware that these people stood there for a mechitzah. Then it's okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ice Cotton Mem Beis, Shalayamit Oisam, says the Chavetz Chaim, Shekishem Shetzarech Shalayedu Ha'anoshim Shema'amidam Oisam LaMechitza, just as we need that the people who are actually standing to form the mechitzah should not know that that's why they're standing there. Kach, the same way, Tzarech Shalayeda Ha'ish Shema'amidam Ishvilai, so too the person who we are arranging this mechitzah for, at the time that we're having them stand to make the mechitzah, that person also cannot know what's going on. However, after these people are already stood up to make the mechitzah, once they're in place, now we already don't mind if the person knows. So in other words, if Ruvain has the need for a mechitzah, Shimon could go ahead and he could ask a bunch of people, gentlemen, would you mind standing over here in a square formation? Don't ask me why. I need people standing over here. So they don't know why they're standing there. And Ruvain doesn't know that Shimon is arranging mechitzas for him. So if Shimon gets these people to stand around and make an enclosure, then he could go to Ruvain and he could tell Ruvain, guess what? You needed to pick up that thing and move it? You can now, because we have a bunch of people standing over here creating mechitzas. Says the Mishnah Berurah, cut mem gimel, elayamid oisam. However, the Chavetz Chaim says, the Rashba disagrees with this. The Daita, in his opinion, is that the person who needs the mechitzah is allowed to arrange the people to stand up and make the mechitzah. Ve'ein kepeda, and there is no hakpada over here. Rak al ha'anoshim ba'atzman she'oimdim lemechitzah. The only kepeda that we have is that the people who are actually making the mechitzah, Shaloi yedu shahamdu lozeh. They should not be aware that they were asked to stand in this formation for the purpose of making a mechitzah, because that could bring to a zilzal in Isurei Shabbos. V'ayin be'Eliyahu Rabbi shekasav shekenu gamken mashmoi shari paiskim v'chein iker. The Eliyahu Rabbi says that this is the mashmois of most paiskim, that the person who wants to take advantage of the mechitzah, he could know what's going on, just the people that are actually making the mechitzah, because they're the ones where there could be a zilzal Shabbos. They're the ones who are actually doing a maisa to make a mechitzah. They're the ones who could come to the feeling, oh, it looks like you're allowed to make a mechitzah on Shabbos, because why am I standing over here? I'm standing here to make a mechitzah. So they can't know what they're doing. But the person who wants to take advantage of the mechitzahs, he can know. Now we turn to the Ramah in Sivkat and Zayin, a very critical Ramah. Hagah, says the Ramah, Lamaisa ve'ein lasais mechitzah shel b'nei adam. Says the Ramah, you should not make a mechitzah that's comprised of people. Rak b'shas at-tzorich u'b'shas at-chak. There has to be a big tzorich. There has to be a great need for this. It has to really be a shas at-chak. It has to be a really pressing circumstance. If you left something incidentally in the Rishus HaRabim and you're trying to get it back into the Rishus HaYachid, you want to, not into the Rishus HaYachid even, but you want to be able to transport this item from the Rishus HaRabim, and that's why you want to make a mechitzah. It would be a better eitzah to bring children over there where that item is laying in the Rishus HaRabim. You're hoping that one of these kids will see this item laying on the floor, and they'll go ahead and say, oh, look at that, and they'll pick it up, and they'll move it. They'll carry it to where you need it carried. Not because you'll ask them to, like we see, but just a child sees something in the Rishus HaRabim, he'll go, he'll pick it up, and he'll carry it. It's better to do that. It's better that a child should go ahead and carry this thing without mechitzahs, milasais mechitzah shabnei adam. It's better to do that than to make mechitzahs out of people, v'sheyeviyenu gadol, and then have a gadol, somebody who's really a bar mitzvah, go take advantage of this mechitzah of bnei adam to bring this item. Now let's take a look at what the Mishnah Berurah says. So he's cut mem dalet. He says it would be a better eitzah lahilach sham tinoikos. So you have, let's say, a key sitting in the Rishus HaRabim, and you don't want to leave it over there. So you have two eitzes in front of you. You could get people to stand around to create a Rishus HaYachid. So now you could pick the key up, and maybe you could even create this mechitzah of people going all the way to your house. So you could take the key and you could carry it to your house. That would be one eitzah, to rely on a mechitzah of Bnei Adam. Or what you could do is, you can see some little kids, you see some 9-year-olds, and you say, 6-year-olds, you see them, hey, take a look. You mind coming over here for a minute? And now the kids come, and one of them sees the key, and he goes, oh, look at that, there's a key. And he goes there, and he picks it up, and he carries it to the Rishus HaYachid. So says the Ramah, it would be better to use the kid. Even though there's no mechitzas here at all, it's better to use the child and have the child go ahead and take it than it is to rely on a mechitzah of bnei adam. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, there's some very important caveats here. The child cannot be aware that this item that's laying in the Rishus HaRabim, let's say, belongs to his father. And therefore, when he picks it up to bring it home, he's doing it for his father. If he sees a key lying on the floor and he says, oh, that's my daddy's key, I better bring it home. Now he's not doing it for himself, he's doing it for his father. That's a problem, because you have a chiyuv of shvisa on your child. So you can't allow your child to do malacha for you. So now if he's going to bring it up, he's going to pick up the key and he's going to be carrying it for a gadol, that you have to stop him from doing. Says the Chavetz Chaim, V'lahanos atzmai hu miskaven ba'avasei oisai. The only time that this would be mutter is if the child is doing it lahanos atzmai. He's doing it for his own benefit. Shesaver shematza chayfetz b'rishos harabim. Because the child thinks, look, I found something interesting in the rishos harabim, I'm going to bring it home. Avalim yedea shechayfetz zehu shel aviv. But if he knows that this item that he's transporting belongs to his father, harehu miskaven min astam b'havasai. So now what's his intent when he's bringing it home? Bishvil aviv. His intent is to help out his father. In that case, v'tzarich kol adam limchais b'tinaik zeh, then every person, not only the father, but every adult, would have a chiyuv to be moicha on the tinaik, to protest to the tinaik, and not to allow him to do this malacha. Shelo yavienu, they would have to stop him from bringing it. Certainly, an adult would not be allowed to bring a child over there to that area, hoping that the child will bring it up, pick up the item, and bring it home. Because again, in this case, the child is doing malacha on behalf of a gadol. You are not allowed to allow a child to do malacha on behalf of a gadol on Shabbos. Indeed, you have to be moicha. You have to stop him from doing that malacha. So if he's doing the malacha b'shvel atzmai, if he's doing the malacha because he thinks he found something interesting in the rishos harabim, and he's bringing it home for himself, then you don't have to stop him. So you left something in the rishos harabim, you want to bring children over there because you think a child is going to see it, pick it up because it's interesting and bring it home. All right, that's one thing. But if the child is going to recognize that this chayfetz belongs either to his father or even to another gadol, so now he wants to pick it up and he wants to carry it bishvil on behalf of the gadol, that you're not allowed to do. That, if you would see the child doing it, you would have to stop him. Even if this item belongs to a different adult, and this child knows that adult, and he's going to bring it to him, so that the child is doing malacha for him, that would be a problem. And the Mishnah Berurah continues, and the only time that there would be a possible heter over here to use a child would be by an adult that's not the child's parent. Aval aviv, but the child's parent, mitzvah lechanchai, he has a chiyuv of chinuch on the child. V'ligor bay, and he would have to protest to the child, he would have to admonish him, ulahafrishai, and he would have to prevent him from doing malacha, kishareyu mechal Shabbos, when he sees him going to do an act of chilul Shabbos, afilu lahanos atzmai, even if in that case the child would clearly be doing the malacha for himself, not doing it for a gadol, then a father would still have a chiyuv of stopping him, because a father has a chiyuv of chinuch. And this would be true even by Nisa D'Rabbanan, Siman Shin Mem Gimel, like we saw previously in Siman Shin Mem Gimel. Certainly the father would not be allowed to bring the child over there in the hope that the child would pick it up, even if he's picking it up and doing it for somebody else. So again, when says the Mishnah Berurah, when the Ramah says that it would be a better eitzah to bring children over to where this chayfetz is lying in the rishos harabim, in the hope that one of the children will pick it up and transport it, that would be a better eitzah than going and relying on a mechitzah shabbatei adam. Points out the Mishnah Berurah, this is only in a case where the child is going to be doing it lahanos atzmai, where the child is going to be doing it for his own benefit. But if the child is doing it b'shvil a gadol, then every gadol would have to stop him and prevent him from doing chilul Shabbos. And also, that's only talking about somebody else, that's not the child's parent. But the child's parent would certainly not be allowed to bring the child over there. And indeed, the child's father, if he saw the child picking it up lahanas atzmai, he would be mechuyev to stop him because of his chiyuv of chinuch. Let's go weiter. Says the Mechaber in Sif Kat Chetz. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of the halachas of mechitzahs and breaches in mechitzahs, what constitutes a breach and what does not, what constitutes a mechitzah and what does not. Says the Mechaber. Parutz meruba al ha'omed aser. When you have a mechitzah, and you have a breached area in that mechitzah that is larger than the standing part of that mechitzah, that invalidates the mechitzah. That mechitzah is no longer an effective mechitzah, and aser. It would be aser to be metaltal inside that enclosure because you don't have effective mechitzahs. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut memhei. Meruba, if the breached area is greater than the standing area. Now, this Mishnah Berurah is a bit complex. If you take a look, if you're using the Dirshu Mishnah Berurah, you'll see on the bottom, there's a little asterisk on the bottom of the page, and it brings down a defus rishon. It brings down nusach defus rishon, that this was the text in an original print of the Mishnah Berurah. I'm going to read that text. I'm going to read the Mishnah Berurah using that alternate text rather than the one that's printed here in the Mishnah Berurah first, and then I'll explain to you why the meaning of the text as we have it, which is based on a bir halacha. So says the Mishnah Berurah based on the Nusach Tfus Rishon. Afilu im gimel mechitzos hayu shleimos. Let's say you had 3 complete mechitzos. Uva mechitzah haravius, and on the 4th side, the 4th mechitzah, haya haparutz meruba. And that 4th mechitzah, you have an area, you have a mechitzah, a wall, where the breached area, the opened area of the mechitzah, is larger than the standing area. Now let's go back up into the Mishnah Berurah. Nechshav oisa ha-mechitzah kemandalesa. That wall is as if it's not here. Since the open area of that wall is larger than the standing area of that wall. So let's say, for example, you have a wall, you have a mechitzah that's 15 amas long. But now the breached area is larger than the closed area. So you have 8 amas of open area, and you only have 7 amas of closed area. So this open area, the parutz, the 8 amma pirza, which is oimed ala maruba, which is greater than the 7 amas of standing closed mechitzah, is going to be mevatel the closed mechitzah, and now nechshav oisa ha-mechitzah, that wall is considered keman delesa, as if it's not here at all, and therefore it is not an effective wall. And now this area is only enclosed by 3 mechitzas, not by 4. And therefore, va'afilu keneged ha'omed, even if you're standing in the area which is closed off by the 7 amma solid piece of wall, so you're standing within that area. So you're standing next to the 7 amma standing wall, and you have 3 other mechitzas that are encircling you. Still, that's not going to be effective. Nechshav kiparutz. The standing 7 amma part of the wall is as if it is breached, because since roiv of that side, roiv of that mechitzah is open, 8 amas are open, it's mevatel the 7 amas that are closed, and it's as if those 7 amas are not even there. So now you only have 3 walls, you don't have an enclosure of 4 walls, and therefore tiltal is usher. Now, many of you are probably listening to this and asking, wait a second, haven't we said many times that a breach of up to 10 amis is okay, because a breach of up to 10 amis is considered a Pesach? Yes, that's true. A breach of less than 10 amis is considered a Pesach, but that's only when it's a mechitzah where either the oimed and the parutz, the standing part of the wall and the breached part of the wall, are equal, or where the standing part of the wall is greater, but it has to at least be equal. If it's parutz meruba ala amud, if that wall has more open area than closed area, we don't look at the open area as being a pesach, even if it's less than 10 amas, because the open part of the mechitzah is mevatel the closed part of the mechitzah, and you have no mechitzah at all. Continues the Mishnah Berurah on the bottom line. Aval kisha'ayim meruba, but when the standing part of the wall is greater than the closed part of the wall, mutter, then it's going to be okay. So again, let's say you have a 15 amma side of this enclosure, and now you have 8 ammas that are closed, and you have 7 ammas that are open, now the closed area is the majority over the open area, so now it's going to be okay. Now the open area is going to be considered a Pesach, because it's less than 10 ammas wide, and this mechitzah is going to be effective, and you can even stand next to the open area, and you're still going to be considered mukaf dalad mechitzas, and tiltal is going to be mutter inside this enclosure. Continues the Mishnah Berurah, v'yesh oimrim. Now this yesh oimrim is not disagreeing with what we said until now. This is just, it's a yesh oimrim because it's one opinion amongst the Rishonim. I don't know if it's one opinion, I think it might be more than one opinion. It's more than one opinion, but it is not the opinion of all Rishonim. V'yesh oimrim, there are those that say, sha'afilu ha'omed eino meruba mitzad echad, rak mishnei tztadim. There are 2 ways that we can have oimed meruba ala parutz, where the closed part of the mechitzah is greater than the open part of the mechitzah. I don't know if this is going to work. No, it looks to me like it's not going to work. You can't see my diagram. But I'll explain it to you outside. Let's say you have an enclosure, so you have 4 walls. Now, on this 4th side that we're dealing with, again, we're dealing with our 15 amma long wall. Now, you could have oimen meruba ala paretz. You could have a situation where the closed area is greater than the open area, where you have an 8 amma section of wall, and then you have the remainder of the wall, the remaining 7 ammas are open. So the oimid, the 8, is meruba ala paretz, is more than the 7 that's open. Or you could have it mishnei tztadim. You could have a 4 amma piece of wall, and then you could have a 7 amma opening, and then on the other side, another 4 amma piece of wall. So now, the 2 4 amma walls together combine to 8 ammas, which is the majority of the 15 amma wall. It's greater than the 7 amma opening in the middle, but that's mishnei tztadim, it's on 2 sides, not on 1 side. So again, says the Mishnah Berurah, v'yesh oimrim, there are those that say, sha'afilu ha'omed eino meruba mitzad echad, even if the majority closed area is not on 1 side of the wall, rak mishnei tztadim, but rather it's on 2 sides of the opening, so neither one of the individual sides are greater than the open area, but the 2 sides together are, mitztarfim ahadadi, these 2 pieces of wall on either side join with each other, umispata la paretz legabe, and the open area in the middle is considered batal to the larger combined closed area on the 2 sides. Now the Mishnah Berurah tells you, Nachachiddish, even if these 2 4 amma pieces on the 2 sides are not totally themselves closed, you don't have a closed 4 amma piece on either side. Ella, rather, yesh b'chol echad gam kein pirza. Each one of these 4 amma pieces of wall also have a breach in them, and he'll describe this. Ella yesh b'chol echad gam kein pirza. Ella sheha'oimed rava alav. But on each one of these 4 amma wall pieces that have a breach, those are oimen meruba ala paretz, they're more closed than open. Nechashev al yedei zeh kilu kulay oimed umispat ala paretz shebeemtza. Each one of those 4 amma sections are going to be considered whole sections, and they will be effective to be mevatel the breach, to nullify the breach that's in the middle. And now he spells this out for you. Keep going. For example, let's say this side of the enclosure is 15 ammas wide, and I made a notation over here that you could actually see a diagram of this in Dirshu footnote 22. Yeah, beautiful picture. If you take a look in Dirshu footnote 22, you have over here a mechitzah, you have a side of this enclosure that is 15 ammas wide. V'nishar b'ktzei ha'kaisel, and all the way at one end of this 15 amma side, you have an amma. You have a 1 amma wall. V'nifratz amma, and then after that 1 amma wall, you have a breach of 1 amma. So far you have a total of 2 ammas. At the corner, you have a standing wall of 1 amma, and then you have a breach of 1 amma. V'nishar oibid shnei amos, and then you have 2 amas of a standing wall. So now, so far, you have a piece over here, a section of 4 amas. This section of 4 amas is comprised of one amma piece at the corner, then a 1 amma breach, then a 2 amma wall. Ve'etzloi, and then next to this 4 amma section, pirza gedola, you have a large breach, shel shiva amos, that is 7 amas long. Ve'etzloi, and on the other side of that breach, oimed shnei amas, you have a standing piece of wall of 2 amas, v'oid pirza amma, and then another breach of 1 amma, v'oid pas amma, and then another piece of wall of 1 amma at the corner, at the next corner of the wall. So how do you have over here now? What is this whole side comprised of? On each end, you have a 4 amma section that is 1 amma of standing wall, 1 amma of breach, 2 ammas of wall. Then you have a 7 amma open area in the middle. So the halacha over there would be nechshav zeh kilo aymin meruba al haparetz. This would be considered aymin meruba al haparetz because on each side of the 7 amma breach, you have a 4 amma section, and even though there's a breach in that 4 amma section, but that 4 amma section is aymin meruba al haparetz. There's more closed, you have 3 ammas closed, and you have 1 amma open. So each one of those 4 amma sections is aymin meruba al haparetz. So they're considered each one to be 4 ammas whole. Together they equal 8 ammas. And together they outweigh the 7 amma opening that's in the center. So this whole side of the enclosure is now aymin meruba al haparetz, and therefore it is an effective mechitzah. Okay. So far in the Mechaber said over here, paretz meruba al aymin, if you have an open area that is greater than a closed area, aser, that is not an effective mechitzah, and tiltul would be aser. And now the Mechaber gives you a caveat. Ela im kein kol pirza mehem pchusa mishloisha tvachim. The exception to this rule would be if you have openings that are less than 3 tvachim. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut memvav. Pchusa, if the openings are less than 3 tvachim, they have a lavud. Because whenever you have an opening of less than 3 tvachim, now that's considered lavud, uka'imid dami, and now it's considered closed. Val kainin, therefore, afilu im beloizeh, even if without using lavud. Hayasham pirza gedola, there's a large breach on this side of the enclosure. Kigain shemachzik shetach oisei haruach, achas esrei amma. Let's say this side of the enclosure is 11 amas long. V'hayasham pirza shel chamisha amas b'makom echad, and one section of this 11 amma side of the enclosure is open a full 5 amas. Ubeshisha amas haneisarim, and now on the 6 remaining amas, hayabakulain pirtzais ketanois shal pachas mishloisha tvachim. This remaining 6 tvachim, let's say, is made like a picket fence, where you have vertical posts, and each vertical post is separated by an opening that's less than 3 tvachim. Chashvinon oisan apirtzais kilo hein stumais. Those openings in the picket fence that are less than 3 tvachim are considered to be closed. V'nimtza shaha'aymin meruba, and now you have presto, you have an opening of this side of this enclosure that is aymin meruba al haparetz. Now it's not really aymin meruba al haparetz. You have a 5 amma wide opening with nothing in the middle. Then you have 6 ammas that are constructed of vertical pickets that have openings between them that are each slightly less than 3 tvachim. So benkach ubenkach, between the picket fence area and the wide open area, you don't really have aymin meruba al haparetz, but halachically you do have aymin meruba al haparetz, because the picket area, each one of those 2.9 openings between the vertical posts are considered closed because of lavud. So this whole 6 amma section is considered closed, and it is larger than the 5 amma open section. So this side of the enclosure is halachically aymin meruba al haparetz, and that would be effective. Continues the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut in Mem Zayin. These openings in the picket fence area have to be less than 3 tvachim. They cannot be more than 3 tefachim. Now points out the Chavetz Chaim something interesting. After beparetz ka'omed mavur b'sif tes, even though we're going to say very shortly in sif tes that when you have a wall where the paretz and the omed are at least equal, so it's not paretz meruba ala omed. It's not that the open area is greater than the closed area. It's at least where the open area is equal to the closed area. Then we say dad eser amos nechshav lepesach, that you could have a breach up to 10 amos, and it's not considered a breach, it's considered a pesach. So why are you telling me over here that if I have a breach that's greater than 3 tefachim, I have a problem because I can't say lavud? But wait a second, we say that a breach of up to 10 amos is considered a pesach. So why are we saying over here that more than 3 tefachim is a problem? He explains the Chavetz Chaim like I said earlier. Beparetz meruba, when the open area of a mechitzah is greater and outweighs than the standing area of a mechitzah, then afilu al yedei pirtzei shel shloisha tefachim gam kein aser. Then even a breach of 3 tefachim creates an iser mishum de ha'omed misbatel legabei, because then the omed is considered batel. So when you're dealing with a wall where the paretz is meruba ala omed, you can't go ahead and say that you have a pesach. The only time that you could say you have a pesach is when you have a mechitzah where the omed, where the closed area is at least equal to the paretz. Then you could say that the open area has a din of a pesach. But when you're dealing with a mechitzah, which is paretz meruba ala omed, then you can't say that there's a pesach. Says the Mechaber weiter, a nice cut in Siftes. Paretz ke'omed. When you're dealing with a mechitzah where the open area is equal to the closed area, then mutter, that type of mechitzah is going to be effective, and you're allowed to be metaltal in such an enclosure. Bein b'shesi, bein be'erev, whether you're constructing this mechitzah using vertical posts or horizontal ropes or horizontal ribbons of some kind, horizontal panels, or bavad shelo yehei b'makom echad paretz yoser me'eser, as long as you do not have a breach that is greater than 10 amos. Aval ad eser amos mutter, if the breach is up to 10 amos, it's okay, mepnei shehi kepesach, because that would have a din of a pesach of a doorway. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut in memches, paretz ka'omed mutter. When you have an open area that's equal to the closed area, that's an effective mechitzah, and tiltal is mutter. Delay tzarek sheyehei ha'omed meruba ala paretz. Don't think that you need the closed area to be greater than the open area. You do not. Afilu im shavinheim, even if they're equal, even if the closed area is equal to the open area, gam kein mutter, tiltal would be mutter inside this enclosure, because that makes an effective mechitzah. Kevin she'ena paretz meruba, since the breached area is not greater. Va'afilu keneged paretz mutter l'taltal. You could even be standing opposite the space, opposite the open area of this doorway, right? So physically you're not enclosed by a mechitzah because you're standing right next to an open doorway. Doesn't matter. Still you're allowed to be metaltal. The yeshal zed din mechitzah shlema, because that open area still has the din of a mechitzah. It's a doorway, and an open doorway is considered a mechitzah. I should point out over here, because some of you might be having this question in your mind. It comes out that if you have a mechitzah, if you have one side of an enclosure that's constructed of a picket fence, where the vertical pickets are very, very small, they might be, 1 tefach wide, or even a half a tefach wide, and in between each one of the pickets you have less than a sheer lavud, you have, let's say, 2.9 tefachim between each one of the pickets. So physically, this mechitzah is going to be paretz meruba ala omed. Physically, the open area is going to be greater than the closed area. But it doesn't matter. Since you have a sheer lavud, it's considered closed. Halachically, it's closed. Those are not breaches. Ois cut mem test, the Mechaber said that when you have at least omed equal to the paretz, you could create mechitzahs, whether it's with shesi or with erev. Says the Mishnah Berurah bein b'shesi, sha'omed al gabe karka begoiva, where you have a picket or a post that is standing on the ground and is standing up in the vertical, and it has a height of 10 tefachim. V'yesh chalalim rechavim b'saycha mechitzah, but then you have open areas in this wall that is created by vertical pickets, you have open areas. But you have over here a situation where the open area is equal to the closed area. Bein be'eriv, or whether you have a mechitzah which is created, let's say, by horizontal panels. So you have horizontal panels and then open areas. Now the Mishnah Berurah is going to give us some interesting cases. You should know. The chol mechitzah, anytime you're going to create a wall, and we're addressing over here specifically a wall that's created of horizontal panels. The chol mechitzah tzarich shelo yehei b'tachtisai cholol shloisha tvachim. You cannot have a mechitzah made of horizontal panels where from the ground to the first panel you have an open area equaling 3 tvachim. Because if you would have an opening of 3 tvachim, even if on top you're going to have 7 tvachim that are completely closed, so certainly you have over here a situation where the oimid is meruba al haparutz, or even if you have 3 tvachim of empty space on the bottom, and then on top you have a completely closed 10 tvachim, this mechitzah is not going to be effective. Because now you have a wall where gediyim baikim bay, where young goats, a kid, could walk, a kid as in a young goat, could walk right under the mechitzah. And a mechitzah shagediyim baikim bay is not an effective mechitzah. V'chein, similarly, let's say from the ground up, you have a closed area of 6 tvachim. And now you skipped a full 3 tvachim. So you're out of the shear of lavud. And now you put up another panel. So now you have 6 closed from the ground up. Then you have 3 open for a total of 9. Then on top you have 1 panel that's 1 tefach thick, 1 tefach high. So you have a total of 10 tvachim. And you certainly would seem to have oimid meruba al haparetz. If you measure from the ground to the top of the 10 tvachim, and you stop at a height of 10 tvachim, so you have 6 closed, then 3 open, and then 1 closed. So you have a total of 7 closed and 3 open. So you definitely have oimid meruba al haparetz. Gam kein loy mahani. This is not effective. Af sheha oimid meruba al haparetz, even though it's oimid meruba al haparetz. Why is it not effective? The asi avir shal chalal shloisha tvachim, because the airspace of open 3 tvachim, shatachas hapas, which is underneath the 1 panel, the 1 tefach panel on top, right? You had 6 closed, 3 open, and then 1 closed. The airspace of 3 that's between the 6 and the 1, the avir shalamayla min hapas ad l'rakia, and now the airspace that's on top of the 1 tefach panel, right? And now that airspace all the way up to the sky, those airspaces combine, umevatli le la pashe be'emtza, and they're mevatel the 1 amma panel that's in between them. So again, you had 6 closed, then you had 3 opened, then you had 1 closed for a total of 10. So you think you're sitting pretty because you look and you say, look, I want to have a 10 tefach mechitzah. What's the problem? I have 6 closed, and then I have 1 closed on top, and then I have 3 open in the middle. Fine, I have 7 closed, and I have 3 open. It's oimid meruba al haparetz. I have a beautiful wall. What's the problem? The answer is no, you don't. Because you have 6 closed, then you have 3 open, then you only have 1 closed. And then on top of that 1 closed, you have 1,000,000 open. Because you go from there, ad l'rakia, all the way up to the shamayim. So the 3 that's open, and then the 1,000,000 that's open on top of the 1, those 2 combined are mevatel the 1. And now it's as if that 1 is not there. So now all you have is 6 from the ground up. So you don't have a mechitzah of 10 tvachim. Umevatel le la pashe be'emtza. That's not going to work. V'chein, similarly, im asa lamata b'tachtisai shloisha tvachim. Let's say from the ground up you make a mechitzah of 3 tvachim. And then on top, from 10 down, you also made 3 tvachim. So you have a panel on top going from 10 down, right? So that's 10 to 7. You have 3 tvachim closed. And then from the ground up, so 1 through 3 are closed, 10 through 7 are closed. In the middle, you have 4 open. So again, you think you're sitting pretty. You think I have 6 closed and I have 4 open. I have 3 closed on bottom. I have 3 closed on top, and I have 4 open in the middle. So I have 6 closed and I have 4 open. So I'm oymen merubah laparetz. So l'chayra I'm sitting pretty. No, you're not. Why? Av shebesak hakoil. Yesh oymen shel shisha tvachim. Even though between the 3 on the bottom and the 3 on top, you have oymed, you have closed of 6 tvachim. And that's a majority, and it outweighs the 4 open airspace in the middle. Law, you have a mechitzah. This is not an effective mechitzah. Why? The asi avira de la maila, because again, you have the airspace that's all the way on top. You have the airspace that goes ad l'rakia, that's above the top 3 tefach panel. So you have that airspace. And then you have underneath the closed 3 tvachim, you have 4 tvachim that were opened in the middle. Those combine, and then mevatel the 3 tefach panel, that top 3 tefach panel. So again, you had 3 tvachim closed on the bottom. You had 4 tvachim open. Then you had 3 tvachim closed on top. No good, because this 3 tefach closed panel on the top is bottle, because you have 4 tvachim under it that are open, and you have a zillion tvachim on top of it that are open. They combine to be mevatel the top 3 tefach panel. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, now he gives us a case that is effective. Aval, however, im also lamayla arba tvachim. If you made a top panel of 4 tvachim, not 3 tvachim, you made a top panel of 4 tvachim, and from the ground up, you made a panel of 3 tvachim. So 1 to 3 is closed, and 6 to 10 is closed. So now what do you have? Now the airspace in the middle is only 3. Now, the 3 open in the middle does not combine with the open airspace all the way on top to nullify the 4 tefach top panel. Why? Because since that closed area of 4 tvachim is larger than the 3 tefach open space that's beneath it, ein yochel ha'aver levatloi. That avir, that open airspace of 3 tvachim cannot be mevatel the 4 tefach, the greater 4 tefach closed area that's on top of it. The adarabah, because quite the opposite. Ha'aver batel legabei. That 3 tefach open area is going to be batel to the 4 tefach closed area on top of it. Uki'ilu sasam kuloi damya. Now it's as if there is no open area in the middle and the whole thing is closed. The rest of this Mishnah Berurah, from the word vihine until Eis Katan Nun Aleph, I am not going to cover because it is complex and it ties into the Bir Halacha Dibra Maschil Paritz Ka'im Mutter Bein Mishesi Bein Be'erev. I'm not going to address it right now. It's a little bit beyond the scope of what we're doing here. I'm going to see if we need it, if it's going to come into play at a later time, and we'll deal with it then. However, before I conclude the share, I want to go all the way back to the beginning. I want to go not to the beginning, but to Eis Katan Mem Hey in the Mishnah Berurah at the beginning of Sif Ches. I told you that I was going to read the Mishnah Berurah to you using the Nusach Tefus Rishon. Now I want to go back and I want to use the Nusach as it's printed in the Mishnah Berurah here. The Mechaber had said in Eis Ches that when you have Paritz Merubah ala Oimid, where you have a mechitzah, you have a side of an enclosure, where the open area is larger than the closed area, you have a problem. Now, I used the Defus Rishon, which the scenario that he gave us was, you have an enclosure that has 3 complete walls, and now we're dealing with the 4th wall. And the Mishnah Berurah, the Chavetz Chaim, had said that if you have 3 complete walls, and on the 4th wall you have a situation where the parutz is merubah loimid, then you have a problem. But the print that we have says, afilu shtei mechitzah shleimos, even if you have 2 complete walls, the gam adoifen shabah halechi oitzuras hapesach asuya kedin, and now you have another wall that has either a lechi, a side post, or it has a tzuras hapesach, which are proper, it's done the right way, uva mechitzah shlishis haya parutz merubah, and you have a 3rd wall where it's parutz merubah ala oimid. What is the Mishnah Berurah talking about here? So take a look at the Bir Halacha, Dibra Amaschil Parutz Merubah Ala Oimid. Go down 3 lines into the Bir Halacha to the word Vidah. Says the Chavetz Chaim, Vidah you should know. The Chala Isser the Parutz Merubah Ala Oimid. When we're talking here about the problem of a mechitzah, which is Parutz Merubah Ala Oimid, that's more open than closed. Hu Bahashloisha Mechitzais. This is talking about in one of the 3 walls, one of 3 closed walls. The B'doifen Revius, because when it comes to the 4th wall, Nizbar L'kaman B'Siman Shin Samach Gimel, we're going to see in Siman Shin Samach Gimel Seif Aleph, Bein B'chotzer, Bein B'movli, whether we're talking about a chotzer or a movli, Da'af B'paretz Kulai, even if the 4th wall of an enclosure is completely opened, V'rak Shasa Tikun Kolshehu, and just you closed off that 4th opening using what the Chavetz Chaim here calls a Tikun Kolshehu, a relatively minor Tikun, like a Lechi or like a Tzuras HaPesach, Ayin Sham Kalechad Kedinai, that is proper. So, what the Chavetz Chaim is saying is like this. When we're addressing the question of Parutz Merubah Ala Oimid, we're not necessarily talking about, like the Defus Rishon says, where we have 3 complete enclosures, and now we're dealing with Parutz Merubah Ala Oimid on the 4th wall. Because the truth is, if you have 3 complete mechitzahs, that 4th wall could even be kulei parutz, and you could just close it off using a lechis or using a tzuras hapesach. So what are we really talking about over here? We're talking about where you have 2 completely closed walls. You have a 3rd wall that you are misakin using either a lechi or tzuras hapesach. Now we're dealing with the 3rd wall that we need to be considered a completely closed wall. Because again, we only need 3 completely closed walls. The 4th wall could be a lechi or tzuras hapesach. So we're talking here, you have 2 complete walls, you have another wall that is a lechi or tzuras hapesach, and now we need a 3rd wall that should be considered completely closed. If that wall is Parutz Merubah Ala Oimid, then we have a problem. So that's pshat in the tfus, in the nusach that we have here in our Mishnah Berurah. Thank you very much for joining me with this virtual share. I hope we won't have to do this too often. Baruch Hashem for Simchas. I hope you all understand, and I hope you were able to understand this somewhat complex share in today's halacha. Be well.